Section 1 played slowly. Section 1, bars 1 and 2 played normal speed. And slowly. Now, just before we launch into bars 1 and 2 and the full explanation, I just want to draw your attention to a little technique here, the hammer-on pull-off idea. It's basically two techniques that are rolled into one. So if you want to try this, get your first finger in your fretting hand onto the 5th fret, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 on string 1, okay? And then what we're going to do is we're going to pluck that string, and then without picking, we're going to basically hammer, or literally wallop that little finger onto the 7th fret on the same string. And the idea is that you pick the 5th fret, but you don't pick the 7, you literally just do a hammer on, you hammer it onto the string. So you pick the 5, hammer on to the 7. Okay, now as you can see, I'm using my little finger to do the hammer on. That's probably the hardest of all the fingers to do the hammer on with. It's easier with the 3rd finger, or you can do the same thing with the 2nd finger to the 6th fret. But for this piece, there's a lot of hammer-ons with the little finger. So if you practice that first of all, 5, hammer to 7, just to get comfortable with that. And as you're hammering on, you kind of keep the little finger kind of arched and kind of coming down from above. Don't have it too high up off the string. Just have it, a couple of centimeters off. So as soon as you hit the 5, you can hammer on straight away onto the 7. Okay, so that's the hammer on, and over the tablature you'll see a little H there, so the H is for hammer on. Okay, now the next technique is the opposite of that, it's the pull off. Usually there's a P or a PO on top of the music to notate pull off. So you start with the little finger, okay, on the 7, and you pick that, and then without picking, so you're basically going to flick the little finger off until you hear the 5. So you pick the 7, and then literally flick or pull off. And usually that you kind of flick down towards the floor, and that'll give you that kind of sound. So pick the 7, don't pick the 5, pull off to the 5. Okay, and again you can practice that a number of times, 7 to 5. Okay, so once you've got the hang of that, you do a couple of hammer-ons, 5 to 7. And then the reverse of that, 7 to 5, the pull off, 7, pull off to 5. And guys, just draw your attention to this. It's very important when you're doing a pull off that you always have the note that you're pulling off to, have that finger on before you start to pull off. So in this case, I'm on the 7, I'm pulling off to the 5, but I must have the 5 on, ready to go before you do the pull off. So you got the 7 and 5 on at the same time, pick the 7, pull off to the 5. If you don't do it that way, you could get an open string coming in where you don't want it. Okay, so you want the 7 and then pull off straight away to the 5. Okay, so you can practice a number of those at any one time. Do a couple of hammers, 5 to 7. Then reverse, pull off 7 to 5. The next step then is to combine them. So you pick the 5, hammer onto the 7, and then pull off to the 5. And again, 5, hammer to 7, pull off to 5. Pick, hammer, flick. Okay, so that's all with my little finger. You could practice that then with the 3rd finger, same frets, 5, hammer to 7, pull off to 5, 1st finger, 3rd finger, back to 1st finger. Okay, so you've got the little finger, the third finger, and you could also try that with the second finger. That'll be the 6th fret, 5, hammer to 6, pull off to 5. So little finger 7, third finger at 7, and then second finger at 6. Okay, so that's basically the hammer on and the pull off technique. And a lot of times when you combine the two techniques together, hammer and pull, that'll be called a trill. And in this piece of music, literally every other bar has a hammer on with either the little finger or one of the other fingers, mainly the little finger. So really you want to get comfortable with this technique before you try to learn the piece itself. If this technique is a little bit tricky for you just yet, maybe practice it for a few minutes every day, and a week or two's time come back and try the piece of music again. It'll be a little bit tricky to learn the whole piece through without being comfortable with that technique. So that'll be my recommendation. Learn the exercise first of all and do it for 4 or 5 minutes a day, and then after a week or two come back and try the piece. If you feel any strain or any tiredness with the little finger, especially the little finger when you're doing any of these techniques, just take a break, come back to the following day.